What's up everybody, this is Jeremy and this is part 2 of my Mostly Ghostly series review. In this video we'll focus on the last 4 books of the series, which would be 5 through 8. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The 5th book is Ghouls Gone Wild. This is another book in the series that didn't have a lot going on. The book opens up with a prologue. Max is heading home from his friend Aaron's house. Max gets the feeling that someone is watching him. Just then he hears footsteps behind him. He notices a boy dressed in all black is following him. When Max finally gets a good look at the boy's face, he discovers that the boy has an old man's face. Max becomes terrified and assumes that there is another ghost after him now. He asks the boy what he wants from him. The boy just simply says, "I'm watching." From there, the story continues the next day. Max's school just got a new pool. The mayor is being given an award for helping them raise the money for the pool, and Max has been chosen to give the award away. Max thought he had everything under control until Nikki and Tara show up just before he's about to give his speech. Max asked them not to interfere during the award ceremony, but they didn't listen and they ended up making him look bad. Anytime Nikki and Tara try to help Max, they always make his situation worse. In this instance, Tara tries to pick up the award to give it to the mayor. Max tries to grab the award from Tara before everyone sees the award floating by itself. They both fight over it, and when Tara finally lets go, Max flies back and knocks the mayor into the pool. Max doesn't tell his parents what happened. They end up finding out when they see it on the news. After seeing what happened on the news, Max's dad decides to break his news to the family that he has a new job offer and the family could be moving to Texas. Now Max has to break the news to Nikki and Tara. When he tells them about the move, they become upset. They still need Max's help. From there, the story focuses on Max, Nikki, and Tara trying to find a way to stop Max's family from having to move. In this story, Max also makes a new friend named Quentin. Quentin is the new kid in school who also likes magic tricks just like Max. Now, the boy from the prologue does make 2 more appearances in this book when he comes to Max with mysterious warnings. But other than that, that's all I can tell you about this one. The 6th book is Let's Get This Party Haunted. This book starts out with Max in his room. He's practicing his juggling routine for his birthday party. As Max is talking to Nikki and Tara, the ghost boy in black appears outside of Max's house again. Max finally asks Nikki and Tara to go out and confront the boy, but the boy vanishes before they can get to him. The next day, Quentin comes over to Max's house to practice their magic act because he's going to be performing with him at Max's birthday party. After Quentin leaves to go back home, Nikki and Tara tell Max that they are suspicious of Quentin. When Max asks them why, they tell him that his magic tricks are too good to be amateur tricks, and they point out the fact that Max doesn't really know anything about Quentin's personal life. Max tells them there's nothing wrong with his friend. Later on in the story, Max asks Tracy Wayne, the girl he has a crush on, if she'll come to his birthday party. With a little unwanted help from Nikki and Tara, Tracy agrees to come to the party, but only if Max agrees to not bother her again. Later, Quentin comes back over to practice his magic with Max again. Nikki and Tara are there bothering Max while he's trying to practice. At this point, Max has had enough of Nikki and Tara and finally snaps on them. He yells at them and tells them that they're not invited to his birthday party and that he doesn't even want them around. Nikki and Tara tell him that he will regret saying that, and then they disappear from Max's room. Later that night, Max realizes Quentin left his magic kit at his house. He decides to find Quentin's house and return the magic kit. At this point, Max learns a few things about his new friend. After that, the rest of the book focuses on Max's birthday party and everything that goes down. Again, the ghost boy does make a couple more appearances throughout this book. Other than that, that's it. The 7th book is Freaks and Shrieks. This book begins with Nikki and Tara heading to Max's house from his school. Max had a pet day at school, but instead of bringing a real pet, he brought his dad's stuffed bass to school. And as usual, Nikki and Tara tried to help Max with his presentation, but instead ruined the whole thing. So as they're walking home, they notice that they're being followed by a man in a black raincoat with a white beard. They also notice that this man can see them unlike everyone else. They figured they didn't want this man knowing where Max's house is, so they decided to ditch the stranger and hide inside some random house. Then Nikki and Tara finally return to Max's house. Max tells them that he's auditioning to take part in a magic show with a magician called Ballantyne the Nearly Amazing. Or Ballantine, I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. But But anyways, Nikki and Tara followed Max to his audition. Shortly after leaving Max's house, the three are confronted by the bearded man who was following Nikki and Tara earlier. The man reveals himself to be Dr. Smollett and tells them that he worked with Nikki and Tara's parents. He was also there the day that they were turned into ghosts. And he says he has a witness named Mr. Harvey who saw everything that happened that day. After convincing Nikki and Tara to come to his laboratory, Max tries to leave for his magic show audition, but Dr. Smollett insists that Max comes with them and that he could turn out to be very helpful. So obviously, Max is reluctant to go, but Nikki and Tara talk him into going along. When they get to Dr. Smollett's lab, they're shocked to find out that Mr. Harvey is actually a lab monkey. Doctor tells Max that he has a machine that can switch his brain with the monkey's brain, and the monkey can use his body to talk and tell them exactly what happened on the day they all became ghosts. And as usual, Max wants nothing to do with this idea. So from there on, the story focuses around Nikki and Tara trying to convince Max to switch his brain with the monkey. But also in this story, Max gets invited to a birthday party with his crush Tracy Wayne. On top of that, he's still determined to make it to his magic show audition. So that's it for Freaks and Shrieks. The 8th and final book is Don't Close Your Eyes. This book starts out with Tracy sitting at Max's house with him, and as usual, Max is doing Tracy's homework for her. But Max seems to be extremely tired and can barely even stay awake. Max says that he's been awake for over 48 hours and he may never sleep again. To understand why, the story takes you back to 2 days prior to. Max was sitting in his room with Nikki and Tara. Tara has another ghost book that she took from an old library. She is still looking for a way to bring them back to life. As Tara is flipping through the book, she stops on a page and starts to read a passage about a ghost named Inkweed. Nikki wants to see the book and tries to take it from her. During their struggle for the book, they drop the book, and when they go to pick it back up, they notice all the letters on the page are moving around and moving towards the center of the book. All the ink ran together off of the book and into a puddle on the floor. The puddle of ink rises up and takes the form of a weird black creature. The creature is none other than Inkweed, the ghost that Tara was just telling them about. After the ghost appears, he floats over to Max and engulfs Max's body. The black ink absorbs into his body and Inkweed begins to talk using Max's body. Max grabs the book from Nikki and Tara and rips the book in half. Nikki and Tara ask Max why he did that. He tells them that he had no control and that Inkweed took over his body and forced him to rip up the book. Max says that he can feel Inkweed moving around inside of his body. At this point, Max, Nikki, and Tara get on the computer to try and find out more about Inkweed. As they're on the computer, Max starts typing something on the computer. He says that he can't control what he's typing. Inkweed uses Max to type a message to Nikki and Tara. Inkweed tells them that he knows who Nikki and Tara are, and once he escapes from Max's body, he will cover all three of them in his inky blackness. And when he does, they will sleep forever. Nikki and Tara decide that Max cannot go to sleep until they figure out how to deal with Inkweed. They decided to go back to the library where Tara had took the book from and start looking for answers there. In this book, there's a few other minor things that go on. Max's dad is making him try out for the swim team at school, but how is Max supposed to stay afloat when he can barely even stay awake? But unfortunately, that's it for this book. So now that I've finished reviewing the books, and now that I've read them all, I'd like to go ahead and give my thoughts and opinions on the series. First, I'll say they're pretty much on par with like a Goosebumps book. You can compare them to some of the more lighter Goosebumps books. It's a little more on the comical side, a lot with Max's dialogue. There's a lot of one-liner type of jokes that he has. It would usually happen when people would see him talking to Nikki and Tara in public, knowing only Max can see Nikki and Tara, so usually people would see something moving around or floating, and then they would point it out to Max, and he would just have some kind of a pun or like a joke that he would have. And that's another thing about the story. Max never really seemed to learn his lesson. He would always get an attitude with Nikki and Tara when they would appear and talk to him openly out in public. So a lot of times if he would yell at him or say something mean to him, people around Max would think that he was talking to them, and then they would get mad at Max, or they would say that he was a rude person. So that's where Nikki and Tara got Max in trouble a lot in the story. Now, the Ghost Fears that was in the story, I thought he was a really good villain. I actually thought he seemed pretty intimidating. It was kind of scary, I guess, just the way he brought himself about, I guess, traveling through the different animals, and then the descriptiveness that R.L. Stine had when he's telling how these animals were being flipped inside out or exploding or whatever, and then the ghost would come out of them. I thought that was really cool. I liked, I guess, the gruesomeness of that. But there was also parts where Fears was torturing Max at certain times, where he would be like peeling the skin back from his fingernails and his nails would be falling off, or he would give Max the sensation that drills were just drilling through his teeth. So he kind of tortured Max sometimes throughout the story, and I enjoyed those parts. I thought they were kind of the more darker parts of the story. But Fears was just a really cool villain to me. Now here's my one thing about the story, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and give like a little spoiler alert on this. I'm not going to give away much, but I am going to kind of give my opinions on how these books ended. Now, I'm not sure what happened with this series. I tried looking it up online. I couldn't really find much, but it seems like it just got left unfinished. I don't know if maybe the series got canceled somewhere along the way and they just kind of wrapped it up real quick and just ended it as it was. But I feel like there was a lot of things that got left unanswered in the story. And with the books, it's kind of like, I guess how to explain it, when you have like an anime series, you got certain episodes that really progress the storyline, but then there's other episodes where it's just like your stuff's going on, but the story's not really going anywhere. So that's kind of how I felt with this series. The first 4 books, there was a lot of things that kind of slowly progressed the story little by little in each book. So sometimes there was the main story that was going on, but you also got little hints and clues as to what was up with Nikki and Tara and their whole situation. But once it got to books like 5 through 8, it kind of hit that filler spot where the storyline really wasn't progressing any, and it was just, each book was just kind of a filler, and I was waiting to see what was going to happen or how this was all going to conclude. And then like as I'm reading the last book, I just keep getting closer and closer to the end of it, and I'm like, well, how is this going to get wrapped up now? And then I got to the end of it, and I was in some ways kind of let down because of how it just kind of left you hanging. So with that, I would actually like to see the series maybe come back eventually and actually get an ending to the story. I wouldn't say that this was like my favorite type of story from R.L. Stine. If I had to kind of rank the series, it'd be kind of hard. I couldn't really say that it sucked, but it wasn't like really good. It was just kind of in the middle. Like I said, I was getting into the story with the first 4 books, but then once the last 4 came, that was when it kind of started to lose me a little bit. So with that, I at least wouldn't mind seeing the series maybe come out later on down the road and get a better ending to the story. I don't know what much to say other than that with the series. I'm kind of new to this whole giving reviews thing. Hopefully this being the first one in time, I'll have better videos when I give better reviews. I guess I'm just trying to feel stuff out with this one and see how I want to do things. But thank you for those that do watch my videos. I think now that I've recently got the 3rd Space Cadets book, I want to do a quick little review on those. I just want to read those 3 books real quick and then do a short little review on those. And then from there, I want to move on to doing Rotten School. And I want to try and do those videos a lot better. So I want to try and take my time with them and make sure they're really good and people actually enjoy watching these. And in between doing the Rotten School videos, I want to go and do just reviews of other series and just kind of show off books in between to kind of keep stuff coming out slowly over time. But I guess that's it. So thank you guys for watching.